Hi, this is the Social Distance Reading Series, a project of the Vermont School and Green Mountain Review. I am Jason Schneiderman. I am the author of Hold Me Tight, published by Red Hen Press, and thank you for joining me in Brooklyn with my lovely shades and painting by my friend Mark Goodman. It's gorgeous, right? That's actually me. So this is my fourth book of poems, Hold Me Tight. I also edited a freshman composition reader of queer texts. My instructions are to tell you awards I've won. I won the Emily Dickinson Award from the Poetry Society of America, the Jerome Shestack Award from American Poetry Review, and the Benjamin Saltman Award for Red Hen Press. I'm going to read you 3 poems from the new book, and the book is a little on the apocalyptic side. The book is built around the idea of outrage and predation, and I was focused on the ways that social media circulates outrage and anger in a sort of Marshall McLuhan, the medium is the message kind of way. And I was thinking about how the accusations of predation circulate. I'm one of 6 poets who's writing about wolves, so clearly this is in the zeitgeist. But for this reading, I'm going to read 3 poems from the final section, and the final section is about last things. And it's really kind of a series of speculative elegies. And I know that speculative is often a code for science fiction, but it's really more that science fiction is one way of speculating or kind of imagining what could happen or thinking through our problems in another time or space. So if you're not feeling apocalyptic right now, I apologize, but don't think of them as celebrating the end of the world. Think of them as about loving the world that we live in now. The idea, you can't prepare for grief, but what you can do is imagine what it would feel like to lose something, not because that's what it's going to feel like when you do lose it, but because it makes you appreciate the thing that you have now. It makes you look at it and kind of hold it a little tighter. So here are 3 poems from Hold Me Tight, available on May 26th, 2020. The Last Book. The last book tries to remember the last time someone read it. Tries to remember if someone has ever read it at all. The last book isn't sure what it's about, because it can't open its own pages the way you can't open your own chest, and you've never seen your own organs. The last book has no other books to ask about what it feels like to be read, because that's what it means to be the last. And the last book doesn't even know that it's just zeros and ones, hurtling through space, sent into the universe by people who died millennia ago on a planet that's long since been eaten by the sun it revolved around. The last book still thinks it's paper and ink, bookboard and cloth. And if anyone ever picks up the signal, maybe it will be again. The Last Mirror. The Last Mirror was put on trial. The Last Mirror was accused of inciting vanity, of lacking originality, of encouraging vice, of being nothing more than a parrot or an echo. The Last Mirror's defense was that Echo had shown devotion to the man she loved, and that parrots love their pirates. The Last Mirror insisted that vanity, like greed, can be good, because really, every man should love himself. The Last Mirror argued that vice is a lot of fun every now and then, and that imitation can also be a form of love. Why, even Freud, that old master, could not distinguish between the desire to possess and the desire to be. The Last Mirror lost the case. As you may have guessed, it was a show trial. The judge said that love is not a defense, and even ejected the viewer who laughed when the prosecutor asked the mirror in a froth of rage and anger, "What's love got to do with it?" entirely unaware of the song by the same name. The judge ordered the Last Mirror shattered into 100,000 pieces on the courtroom floor. When the bailiff had shattered the Last Mirror, Each one of the pieces proclaimed that now it was the last mirror, however small the piece might have been. The judge held the prisoners in contempt and called every piece a liar. The Last War. The project was simple, though initially most people regarded it as misguided. We removed everyone under the age of 12 from every armed conflict. Anyone from 12 to 18 could stay and fight or go, up to them. Adults left in war zones were sterilized, using a gas cloud that could be wafted over battlefields, starving the conflicts of new combatants. Many people were sure that the children raised abroad by strangers would continue the conflicts. But having anticipated that probability, plans were carefully developed. The adoptive parents were instructed to give contradictory answers, saying things like, oh, wait, no, your parents were Sunni, not Shia, or maybe Sufi, or no, I'm fairly sure you were Irish. Or was it English? If the children demanded proof, our office created specially forged family trees to show one Hutu and one Tutsi parent, or one conquistador and one Aztec, or one Nazi and one Jew. It took a long time, generations. And our critics likened it to genocide or ethnic cleansing, and in a way it was, but every person on the planet watched the last war with great pity. The last two survivors of some ancient conflict, the war zones having gotten smaller and smaller, easily monitored with drones and satellite imaging. The last combatant shot the second to last combatant, and he rejoiced to have won, to have claimed for all his ancestors the piece of land that he would hold until he died, under quarantine. He didn't ask to be let out. He knew we wouldn't let him, and so he died, king of his shrunken domain. And after that, we went in, forgetfully, purposefully insistent on forgetting, determined to make no new history, to remember as little as possible. We have destroyed the archives. We have shredded and wiped and erased and burned. We have diaries in which we tear out the pages as soon as we fill them. And on the shelves, we store nothing more than empty book covers. We are visionary, we believe, in our belief that there will be no more fighting as long as there is nothing to fight about. I'm actually doing really well on time, so I'm going to add one more poem, The Last Black Hole. The last black hole was not the last. The last black hole was everything in the entire universe, collapsed into a space even smaller than you can imagine. The last black hole was the end of time, and then it exploded into a new time. And then there was a whole new universe, the one we know, and what is coming at the next black hole will be another whole new universe, but not the one we know. The one coming will be a universe where nothing of us will have survived, not even the tiniest speck, except maybe the rediscovered truth that there was a time in which we lived. Though this truth will be our truth, not theirs, but you know that, don't you? That every truth we have is a human truth. That as long as we're the ones looking, everything will always look like us. And as sure as every human will be born and die, there is only our time, our journey to the black hole and our journey away from it. And don't be discouraged. We do not give birth astride the grave, as some have said, but rather we are born into a picture in which we are only a pixel. And as the pigment shall never know the painting, so we are fixed within our place, and we must not fear because we cannot see the design, and this I call faith. Knowing that the last black hole is coming, and on the other side will be time and space. And on the other side will be time and space. And on the other side will be time and space. But without us. So thank you very much. The book is called Hold Me Tight. It is from Red Hen. You can order it directly from Red Hen Press. I do want to give a shout out to a few other people who have recent books or books coming. If you haven't gotten your copy of Erica Meitner's Holy Moly Carry Me, you should pick that up. If you don't have Ada Limone's The Carrying, that's a really good one to have on your bookshelf. I don't have the most recent one, but Jennifer Knox has a book coming out from Copper Canyon called Crushing It that is amazing, and you should really check that out. And if you are a poetry lover, my husband, Michael Broder, also runs the press Indolent Books. And so you can pick up Circus, which just won the T.S. Eliot Award. Do you want to make a cameo?
No. T.S. Eliot Award, a 4 Quartets Prize from the Poetry Society of America and the T.S. Eliot Foundation of London.
4 Quartets Award from the T.S. Eliot
Foundation
in London,
Poetry Society of America.
And the Poetry Society of America. This is the anthology Poems in the Aftermath.
And our newest title.
The newest title is Was Body by Billy Tadros. And so again, those are Indolent Book titles, and you can go to Indolent Books. And this is the wonderful, beautiful book, This Life Now, by my husband, Michael Broder, who is the founding publisher of Indolent Books. So again, please pick up my copy, pick up Hold Me Tight at Red Hen. You can see it's a really beautiful cover. It's Artemisia Gentileschi's, Judith Beheading Holofernes, and it's just, I couldn't be happier. Okay, so thank you for spending these 12 minutes with me, and I hope to see you soon.